someone wanted to fly a Christian flag, and the city of Boston said no. And the Supreme Court and the city of Boston said, that's our choice. That's government speech. We don't want to fly a Christian flag. So how come the Supreme Court said that they had to fly the Christian flag if government has free speech?
Senator, if the government opens up its plaza to all comers, so to speak, then it's restricted under the public forum doctrine in terms of what viewpoints it would decide to favor or not.
That's not necessarily so, is it, Counselor? I mean, let's suppose Texas, this actually happened. Someone in Texas lets people buy specialty license plates. You know, I love little warm puppies and stuff like that. You can buy a specialty license plate. And somebody wanted to have a specialty license plate that pictured the Confederate flag. And Texas said no.
Welcome back to Right View Nation, where we say what the mainstream media won't and stand up for true American values. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because your voice is louder when we stand united. Now let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, patriots across this great land, what we just witnessed is vintage, no-nonsense Senator John Kennedy, and let me tell you something. We need about 50 more just like him in the Senate. This man cuts through the legal fog, the leftist doublespeak, and the academic mumbo-jumbo like a hot knife through butter. Now here we have this nominee, Mr. Tongue, being questioned about a comment he made over 20 years ago in college. And what did he say? That women are better than men at some things. That's it. No insult. No slur. Just an observation that any honest human being with common sense could agree with.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Mr. Tongue, you were asked about some of the things you said back in college. And one of the things that you were asked about was a statement you made in 2004. I believe that women are simply better than men at some things. Did you say that?
I did say that, Your Honor, Senator.
You said that you believe that women are better at some things, right?
That's right, Senator.
You didn't say women are worse at some things, did you?
I did not say that, Senator.
Just want to be sure I understand. How is that denigrating women?
It was not denigrating women, and I did not intend it to be so, Senator.
Yeah. I mean, you said they're better at some things. If you said they were worse at some things, you would be denigrating women, wouldn't you?
I would, Senator.
I don't know if I asked you this, but you didn't say they could do things worse. You said better, right? Just want to be sure I understand.
That's right, Senator.
Does government have free speech rights?
Government does have free speech rights.
How so? The First Amendment doesn't mention government, except to the extent that government, it is there to protect, for government, for us to have protection against government restricting our speech. How can government have free speech?
Senator, you are right to the extent that the First Amendment refers to Congress. Congress shall not make any law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. But there is a government speech doctrine that allows the government to convey a political message it wishes to, and the government is not committed to a policy of neutrality at all times.
Have you ever been to Boston?
I have been to Boston.
Okay. You seen the Boston City Hall?
I believe I have, Senator.
There's a plaza in front, and there's some flagpoles. And Boston, when different groups are having protests or demonstrations or rallies on the plaza, allows those groups to fly their flag. someone wanted to fly a Christian flag, and the city of Boston said no. And the Supreme Court and the city of Boston said, that's our choice. That's government speech. We don't want to fly a Christian flag. So how come the Supreme Court said that they had to fly the Christian flag if government has free speech?
Senator, if the government opens up its plaza to all comers, so to speak, then it's restricted under the public forum doctrine in terms of what viewpoints it would decide to favor or not.
That's not necessarily so, is it, Counselor? I mean, let's suppose Texas, this actually happened. Someone in Texas lets people buy specialty license plates. You know, I love little warm puppies and stuff like that. You can buy a specialty license plate. And somebody wanted to have a specialty license plate that pictured the Confederate flag. And Texas said no. And the Supreme Court said Texas doesn't have to do it, government speech. So isn't that inconsistent with what you just said?
Senator, it is not inconsistent. This area of law is extremely complicated when something qualifies as a public forum such that viewpoint discrimination might not be allowed versus a public benefit and public conditions that the government can rightly impose on others, on its recipients. Then that shades into government speech, in which case the government would have more control over what kind of speech gets projected into the public square. But there is potential for tension there between the two doctrines that you raised, Senator.
The chairman's going to gavel me to shut up in a second. I just want to be sure I understand. Back at Yale, you said there are some things that women are better at, right?
Yes, Senator.
Not worse.
That's right.
Better.
Yes, Senator.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Whitehouse.
But guess what? In today's America, the radical left has turned everything into a potential outrage. If he had said women were worse at something, boom, misogynist, sexist, unfit for office. But even saying they're better at some things triggers the woke mob's problematic radar. You can't win with these people unless you bow down, issue groveling apologies, and check all the identity boxes. And that's what makes Senator Kennedy's questioning so powerful. He doesn't just throw gotcha questions. He exposes the absurdity of the left's weaponized outrage culture. He's showing America how these confirmation hearings have become kangaroo courts where you're guilty if you're not woke enough. If you dared to say something outside the social justice narrative in college, they'll dig it up like it's a crime. But here's where it gets even deeper. Senator Kennedy shifts the conversation to something the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about: free speech and the hypocrisy of government censorship. Let's break this down, because what Kennedy is doing is masterclass constitutional questioning. He puts this nominee in the hot seat and asks, does government have free speech rights? And right there, we get into the mess the left has made of the First Amendment. On one hand, the left says the government must stay neutral. But then they argue it has a right to censor certain viewpoints, especially Christian or conservative voices, under the banner of government speech. Give me a break. Kennedy brilliantly points out the blatant double standard. The city of Boston refused to fly a Christian flag, claiming it was government speech. But the Supreme Court shot that nonsense down. Yet, in Texas, when someone wanted a license plate with a Confederate symbol, suddenly it was government speech again, and the court let Texas refuse it. So which is it? Let's be real. The government is picking and choosing what messages are acceptable based on political correctness, not constitutional principle. That's not America. That's authoritarianism in sheep's clothing. What we're seeing here is a creeping, corrosive effort by elites to control the narrative, shut down dissent, and punish anyone who doesn't toe the liberal line. But thank God for patriots like John Kennedy, who won't let them get away with it. He doesn't care what the New York Times says. He's not auditioning for MSNBC. He's standing up for the Constitution, for the truth, and for ordinary Americans who are sick and tired of the hypocrisy. Mr. Tongue tried his best to dance around the contradictions, but Kennedy cornered him with nothing but logic, facts, and that legendary Southern wit. And in doing so, he gave us a front row seat to how conservatives should be confronting this radical nonsense, directly, unapologetically, and with clarity. Folks, if you're as fed up with this two-tiered system of free speech as I am, where Christian voices get silenced and left-wing dogma gets elevated, then now's the time to stand with us. Smash that like button. Drop a comment below. Do you stand with Senator Kennedy? Share this video with every patriot you know. And most importantly, subscribe to Right View Nation, because we're not backing down. We're just getting started. God bless you, God bless John Kennedy, and God bless the United States of America.